My name is Walter Volpatto. I'm native Italian, and then by chance I end up to be here in Hollywood do coloring for movies. Last year was the Star Wars, the Episode 8. It was great, I should say. I enjoyed Star Wars before. I think I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, but it's one of those classics that you kind of have to watch and enjoy and re-enjoy and re-watching it. So when I knew that I was going to work on the movie, I went back and watched the original trilogy, Force Awakens, and tried to get the feeling again of the movie, the story of the universe where we are working. I was interested to come in the Blackmagic Expo because I see a lot of young colorists come on and trying to learn the craft. And the craft is not just making pretty picture. We want to tell at the Expo a different story. It's what it takes to make a movie of the sheer size of Star Wars. It's not just making one pretty picture, but building an entire workflow. What as a colorist you have to keep in mind every time you touch an image. And I think it's a good way to show a piece of the world that rotate around the coloring that usually young generation don't have really approach and way to see. If I have to tell you where I came from, it's a long story, but in short terms, I'm a farmer. I grew up on a farm. and my first kind of education was in electronical engineer. And I worked in a broadcast for 10 years as an engineer in the 90s, the period of time where computers were more present in the industry. And what I realized is there are so many possibilities that were precluded to any artist before. So I started to learn photography, the way computer interact with images and the way computer-generated character can interact with real character in an environment, a real environment. And at the beginning of 2000, machines that were able to handle the full movie start to come out. So the concept of DI start to be present. And with a bit of luck, I was at the right place with the right knowledge, and I started to work in the digital intermediate environment, and I had great training from color timers, from people that work on Titanic or any of the great movies that you can think of in the past. They sit next to me and start to train my eye to the color, to the image, to the feeling, to the word you're trying to create. So my background is technical first and artistic second, to create a kind of a unique blend, if you wish. At the beginning, there was more of the willingness to reproduce just film. So yes, you have a digital image, but at the end of the day, you're still distributing film. So that was the mandate, try to make, in a way, a transparent film. And then we start to progressively have more freedom, say, we don't really need to match film, and you can have to start to push the boundaries, start to create look that not necessarily were in camera during the capture. And I think nowadays there are two schools of thought, kind of like when in the 1800s you have the Impressionism start to take over the world of painting. It's the same now with the colorist. You have a colorist that can create a look that was impossible in camera, and colorists that try to just give life to what the camera capture, and every shade in between. So I think I'm more on this naturalistic side, if you wish. But it's difficult because in a way you have to be able to create whatever the client and the talent in the room with you wants. In the other ones, you should not do it in a way to step on their photography. The basic idea is it's a movie of an immense scale. The security is very tight. The production is expecting much more from you and from all your team. It's like to do 100% more than what you ever did in every movie you did before. I mean, the responsibility on your shoulder, it's immense. The first mantra is, do not mess it up no matter what you do, and here it's even more so. In The Last Jedi and in pretty much every production nowadays we do in FotoKem, we use Resolve. In Resolve, we like the tool set. We like the fact that we can have multiple platforms working on one project together. In Jedi, we had often the necessity to have a machine offsite somewhere to do either a color correction at Skywalker Ranch for the first 2 weeks of the production, or to the HDR at Disney. And with Resolve was very easy to split the machine apart, split the data, still have database connected together, and have multiple people keep working on the same project, even if you're physically 600 miles apart. And to me, Resolve it's simple, it's intuitive. You sit in front of it like a colorist, and you don't really have to think about the mechanic of it. You just start to work. And if you want to go into the mechanic of it, there is plenty of tools that allow you to do it. So Steve Yedlin, the DP of Jedi, tend to be very precise as a DP. He want to know how the machine works. And it's very easy for me to, here, this is the tool, that's how it works, how we can work together to make your product. So it's at the same time a very simple artistic tool, but also a very technical machine to achieve what we want to achieve in the vision of the DP and the director. If I have to spend a word on HDR, I would say, oh my God. It's still in its infant state in a way. Even if the product exists, the TV, they can show it exists, the screen exists. The creator of content need to have a leap of faith and embrace the technology a little bit more. For big scale production, we are still trying to make the best 2D theatrical version possible, and then there is HDR. So there is still this leap of, why do I have to make a different product while I spend, in this case, 2 years of my life to make this particular look for this particular screen? And then there is Netflix, for example. They say, no, your master deliverable, your first thing you want to think of is HDR, and finally you can explore the new dynamic range, you can explore the new color, you can explore a different way to present an image that wasn't possible 5 years ago. If I'm thinking about the future, oh God, I don't know why those Japanese want to do 8K. It's painful. Not only it's painful, I personally, as a viewer at home, I'd rather have HD, uncompressed or minimal compressed, than 8K on a pipe that it's basically a small spigot. So I see that happening. There is nothing we can do to stop it. I'm glad that Blackmagic put his foot forward immediately and give us the technology to do it. We're actually working now on production that require the 8K final mastering. That is happening. There is nothing you can do. The HDR is happening, and I kind of like the idea. It will take a while before it will be embraced entirely. And both as an artist point of view and creator of content point of view, we should kind of figure it out how to use it at best. VR, I saw VR. I don't like VR. It makes me sick. It reminds me of Edison's Verso Lumiere. Edison made the kinetoscope for a single person use. The Lumiere were visionary and say, no. We want to have an audience looking at the presentation. And here we are almost building the modern version of the kinetoscope. Say, one person looking at one content by himself in a room, alone. I don't want that. So yeah, probably I will have to work on it, and I hope that doesn't become a trend. One thing that worries me is I see too much content in the internet that kill the quality of the production. I mean, too much compression, too much half done. So volume instead of quality, quantity versus quality. That's a trend that actually worries me in terms of content that we make and we can view and we can present.